Can we call the meeting to order? Trustee Weinstein, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're calling the regular session of the Peralta Community College District meeting to order. My apologies for we had some protracted discussions in the closed session, and we have a report out. Who has the report out? So Trustee Handy, if you could give us the report out of closed session. Hold on. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Student Trustee Galan.
Here.
Student Trustee Jordan is not here. Trustee Weinstein. Trustee Handy. Trustee Withrow.
Here.
Trustee Gonzalez UN. Trustee Bonilla. Here. Trustee Riley. And Trustee Brown.
Here, and Trustee Jordan gave her apologies and could not make it here today and has contacted us and let us know that. Trustee Handy, can you do the report of action taken in closed session?
Tonight, November 13th, 2018, recommendation to appoint Stacy Shears as Vice President of Student Services, Berkeley City College, effective December 3rd, 2018 through June 30th, 2020, at $158,651 annually. 7 ayes, 0 noes, abstentions, or absent. Recommendation to appoint Adil Ahmed as the Budget Director, District Office, effective November 14th, 2018 through June 30th, 2021, at $139,559 annually. 7 ayes. Recommendation to appoint Neil Berminko as the Food Service Manager, Laney College, effective November 14, 2018 through June 30th, 2020, at $100,483, 7 ayes. Ratification of the Chancellor's appointment of Spencer Moore as the Interim Director of Public Information, Communications, and Media, District Office, effective October 24th, 2018 through April 24th, 2019, at $133,977, 7 ayes. Ratification of the Chancellor's appointment of Min Lam as the Interim Chancellor of Information Technology, District Office, effective October 23, 2018 through October 15, 2020, at $189,802 annually. Ayes 4, noes 3, Ewan, Weinstein, and Bonilla. If these individuals are present, please stand so that we can welcome you into your new position.
Thank you.
Madam President, that concludes the closed session readout for tonight.
Thank you, Trustee
Can I just correct the that motion there? That was 4 yeses, 3 noes?
3 noes.
Yes.
Yes.
The next item is the approval of the agenda.
So move.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next item is Associated Student Government Reports.
How'd the minutes get down here?
Good morning, trustees, college president. My name is Brian Montefar, the Vice President of Programs of College of Alameda, and here's our report for today. As a report from November 13, 2018, first one we attended the Seesaw Conference. Second, we attended the General Assembly at the SSCCC. Third, in our meeting, we have our new president that has been appointed. We've been successfully did 3 events. One, we did the Halloween party. It was on October the 31st, going out great, successful. We did the resolution town hall for the votes on for the GA, and the information candy table. And for the upcoming events, we are having for Friendsgiving, which is a Thanksgiving event for students and friends to show up at 12 o'clock through 1 o'clock at Building Pit in the College Alameda. B is the study jam. It will be scheduling on December the 3rd. And finally, we will have our associate student dinner for our College Alameda, and we will get out until for our next meeting.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Chancellor's Office, Peralta Community, and friends. My name is Ramina. I'm reporting on behalf of Berkeley City College. So there's a couple things that we've had to report on. So we've held various events during the past month. In terms of our voter-friendly campus initiative, we registered 85 voters from the beginning of the semester until October 22nd. We had an election watch party the night of the election, which 80 students partook in the event. However, we at Berkeley City College believe that work doesn't stop there. We need to ensure that our students are civically engaged year-round and every year, not just during the election season. This past week, we had Transfer Tuesday in the atrium, and this is basically helps students ensure that they have everything needed during the transfer process, which is also a very important, critical process right before they transfer. For Veterans Day, the Veterans Department had 30 participants participate in their pull-up contest, and this is acknowledging our vets at our school. And we had a very successful mental health summit on the 9th, which had 99 attendees. The ASBCC also holds social hours every Wednesday during college hour, and that's so students can socialize amongst one another and also have involvement directly with the AS. And for future events, Friday we will be hosting an Amazon Whole Foods for their hiring event, which will take place in the atrium. ASBCC is also in full support of guided pathways. We're excited to participate in the 4 pillars of BCC's guided pathways. And lastly, we have a project that we are taking on for the academic year of 2018 and 19. And as we are all aware, is that we are supposed to take on one big project every year. And for this year, we are proposing a food insecurity project. The goal is twofold: to raise awareness about food insecurity that affects our community, and especially our students at Berkeley City College, and two, to build an in-campus food pantry beyond our Monday Alameda Food Bank drop-off. There will be more details regarding the progress of our project. That's it. Thank you.
You'll make me laugh. Okay. Hold on. Good evening, Board of Trustees, Chancellor's Office, Peralta family, and community members. It's been a while since I've been here at the Peralta District Office and at the Board of Trustees meeting, and it's amazing to see everyone here tonight. I do want to say I am sorry that I was not here the last 2 meetings. I actually had surgery, but I'm healing well, as everyone can see. I'm still on crutches, but we getting off soon. So, everybody get used to seeing me again, because I'm not going to miss anymore after this, unless I'm sick. But trustees, I am happy to report that the Associated Students of Merritt College for the past 3 months have been working hard and really trying to reach new heights of improvement. This semester has been a big growth period with our campus, an even better relationship with our student activities and campus life director, Dr. J. Kitchen. And most importantly, with each other among our Associate Student Board. On top of the great news that I've already have given you, we've been some very efficient, fast learning, and determined problem solvers. A few examples of our problem solving have been that we've noticed our vending machines on campus were stealing money from our students, and when they did come to reimburse our students, they weren't really reimbursing as much as we thought they would. So a strategy that we have thought towards this is that we are planning to sit down with one of our district reps, our director, and me, as well as my treasurer, or our treasurer actually, to see if we can possibly terminate our contract with them and buy our own vending machines that we can stock ourselves and not overcharge our constituents. The second problem that we noticed that was a big issue just amongst us is that we had a bad budgeting issue. There was past bills that would pop up out of nowhere, or equipment that somehow was just there and we had to pay for it. And no one really would let us know from the last year, like, this is what it is and this is what's going on. But thanks to our director and our new business and administrative, where's her position? Business and Administrative Director, Vicky Menzies, and her cunning, and I mean cunning, work, that she was able to help us understand our current budget, how to figure out our next budget for next year, to say that that's the maybe appropriate budget for next year, and to also help us spend accordingly. Which is a big problem amongst all the ASs, the college share governance, the Peralta district, and even the Board of Trustees, is usually communication to our students. We thought two strategies to this. Our first strategy was that we created a document that all of our students could sign their emails into if they so choose that they wanted to get updates from us, so that then we can send them emails of any student-related issues happening on campus, any student-related events, and also anything that our Madam President would like us to send through the email, anything that was last minute that we should let them know about. It'd also be an extra third line to help the Peralta district when things like the gas leak, or if the air is unhealthy, and let people know, like, you gotta go home. Our second strategy to that is that we created a Google Docs drive that we can put onto our website. So instead of individually putting minutes and agendas, they could just see everything. All of our minutes and agendas, share governances that we've been going to, offices we've been partnering with, offices that we've seen may need an update as far as student needs. Those are just a few that I've given you. But out of all of those problems, we understood that this is another layer of work, commitment, time, communication, and transparency from us to our constituents. But we also realize that this comes to those constituents of whom we fight for, and even ourselves, that this work is necessary to carry out. The ASMC does believe that every student is the future, like it is always told to us. Therefore, the Associated Students of Merritt College will continue to advocate and support our constituents for a promising future. Thank you for the time and space you all have given me today. Enjoy the rest of your board meeting and evening, and I hope to see you all soon. Love you.
Good afternoon, board, district leadership, campus leadership. I'm speaking on behalf of our Associate Student Union President, Dag. He sends his apologies. This will be a brief update. He asked that I share that they conducted a Halloween trick-or-treat among inviting all of the services and staff to table in the cafeteria, where we handed out candy to our early childhood center little students, Laney students, Peralta students, actually. In addition, voter registration efforts has been conducted, as well as continuing to work with Alameda County Food Bank in dispersing food on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and also supporting the Eagle Food Pantry. In addition, some of the goals are to encourage students to get more involved in ASLC and student leadership. Thank you.
Thank you for the Associated Student Government reports. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. It's been moved.
I'll second it.
And second. We'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next item is our Peralta Classified Senate report.
Everybody's here.
He is.
Is it? Where's he at? Is he coming?
Mr. Tracy, next.
No, he's not here.
The next item on the agenda is the District Academic Senate report.
Good evening.
We have a resolution from our last meeting last week, which is for the board and the Chancellor. The District Academic Senate strongly urges the Chancellor and Board of Trustees to successfully resolve the hourly staff crisis before massive further layoffs occur. And I'll just read the resolves. It says, resolve that the district administration or chancellor of the Peralta Community College District present clear information to all district constituents detailing the issues that exist regarding the present and future hiring of hourly professionals. Resolved that the District Academic Senate strongly advises the Chancellor and the Board of Trustees to assure that the district resolves the hourly layoff crisis before further layoffs jeopardizes the success and safety of students. Resolved that utilizing the necessary procedure of shared governance and the role of consultation, the District Academic Senate asserts that the Board of Trustees accept and act on this recommendation to resolve this hourly staff crisis before the end of fall of 2018 semester. We did this resolution because we started getting concerns raised by faculty, in particular with regard to instructional assistants, and mostly they were coming from this, the CE area because of concerns around losing any instructional assistants working in the areas that have safety issues. And we also were starting to hear it in terms of about interpreters for our students. So both of those areas are extremely, there's a lot of high anxiety regarding the possible layoff of these individuals. And we know that everybody is trying to diligently work at this, but some level of communication to the constituents here and some sense of where it's at and ultimately what people hope to achieve in this, I think would be really, really important to be forthcoming. So thank you very much.
The next item on the agenda is public communication. Trustee Handy?
Yes. Can we have Stacy Caden come forward, Jennifer Shanowski, Heather Dodge, and Kim Kale?
This is what I sent you. Oh, this.
Yes, come to the mic. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Stacy Caden. Oh, press on this? Oh, I'm Stacy Caden. I'm a faculty at Laney College, faculty member. I run a lab in disabled student services, and I've had instructional assistants working with me for years. So here's the rub that's really uncomfortable for me around this. I completely understand that, I follow what's been going on about legally the agreement that the college made about part-timers only being, that it was supposed to be for IAs part-time jobs. And yet despite all that, and also temporary jobs, not part-time, but temporary jobs, but despite that agreement that was made with the union and the district, we have carried out for a number of years following that lots of IAs that have figured out systems and have been given contracts by the district to be able to work year after year and have served our students with incredible pride and have put their lives into their jobs and have been hired, even though it is considered a temporary job. And so now, after a number of years of having these jobs, we are telling these people that, sorry, legally, we can't hire you anymore, you're out of here. This is not this is not like something on the paperwork. This is not like how to balance the budgets. These are people's lives. And they've committed their years of experience to our colleges. And now we're turning around saying, well, I'm sorry, legally, we have to let you go now because we had this contract and we've been out of compliance. That's not their fault. That's your guys' fault. That's the college's fault, and it's not the union's fault. The union was not the one who was giving them their contracts year after year after year. And so what I'm asking passionately, and because it matters to me, it's people I work with, it's my students who have become reliant upon having that person. It's not just someone you can just place in that job. It's someone they've become connected to. It's the people, the IAs, who have put their hearts into those jobs. And my feeling about this, if the district is at the point where now we're going to start following this law that supposedly we have been neglecting for years, then why are those people who have been there for years not grandfathered in? Or why is there not some way that those jobs that those people have been doing for years and given their lives, why are they not provided a full-time position? Because they've done their time. How can we just now say, well, sorry, you know, you don't matter, we're following this law now? Why are they being the sacrifice? And it seems like on a grander scale, it's like in this day and age where things are really hard and there's so much negativity and there's so much meanness going on in the world right now that we can't step aside and honor the people that have been working for us. And the IAs, in reality, are the ones that are the front who are dealing with the students. They're the ones who are running our colleges in a lot of ways. They're in there working hand in hand with our students. And that's what we're supposed to be doing, is providing services for students, not figuring out how to budget everything, but to serve our students. And right now is the time to do it. And to just turn our back on these people who have given their time seems so backwards to me and so right in line with where the system is going in this day and age, where the world's going. And we as a community, I think, need to stand up and say, no, we're not going to do that. And yeah, maybe from here on out, that maybe there was this agreement that was put in their place that I think makes sense, that everyone who works here should have when you get benefits, that's the word. They should have benefits, and they should have equal pay, and they should have enough pay. But we haven't been giving them that, and that's not right. And maybe those should be temporary jobs. But the people now have not been doing it temporarily. That's the reality. That's why there's so much stress. And we need to honor. We can't just turn our back on that and say it's too bad. It's a person. It's not just a number. It's a human's person. It's a person's job, and it's their livelihood that they've been giving for many, many, many years. So I'm coming here, my part is to stand out to say, we need to figure out a system, while we're figuring this out, of grandfathering in those people who have been spending many years, 3, 4, 5 years, working for this district without benefits, with low pay, and still finding a way to provide for our community. We need to turn around and provide for them. We can't just kick them out and say, sorry, you know, the rules are that we've been doing it illegally all this time, so we're really sorry. That doesn't work. So I hope that we can find a way to be more humane, because we really, really, really need it in this day and age. And if anyone can do it, Peralta should be doing it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you
Hayden.
for your comments.
I might ask the Chancellor and the legal counsel if there's some way that when there are confidential legal matters when there's Brown Act matters that we're not permitted to speak to from the board, that somehow there's communication disseminated so that there's clear understanding regarding the issues, because we're precluded from speaking from the dais on these issues. Madam Trustee?
Your name, please?
My name is Kim Kale,
Thank you.
and this blue box here contains my award that I won from KPAD, acknowledging me as the Student of the Year. I'm not only the Student of the Year, but I am an employee at Laney College. I am an instructional assistant. I've been working at Laney for over 12 years. And this position that I have grown into and became part of is a part of my success. And what I mean by success, I could not have obtained both of my associates and working on my third one without being in this position. And it's a part of who I am, and I instill into the students that I serve a little bit of me each and every day. And I'm trying not to get emotional, but the reality is that this is my life that you guys have in your hand. And I want you to know that I'm committed to this position. I don't care about benefits. I want to serve my students. I want to serve those students that need me. I drive 2 hours from Stockton to come to Laney in the morning. I go to school at night, and then I drive home. I don't sleep because this job is important and my education is important. I don't want to go anywhere else. I want to stay right here. So with that being said, please make a decision and don't stop people's lives. I'm just beginning. Thank you.
Good evening. I would like to start by switching the topic a little bit and thanking everyone who worked on the election. That is finally done as of last week. We had over 60 faculty members who made calls and knocked on doors. And those faculty worked on campaigns like Tony Thurman's bid for Superintendent of Public Education, which it seems he might win, Prop 10, Prop 5, Josh Harder, and of course local races. We're thrilled that the parcel tax and the bond measure, which we all know are sorely needed in this district, passed so overwhelmingly. And I'd like to thank Bill Riley for his many years of service and all that he's done for the district, for the faculty, staff, and students. I'd also like to congratulate Trustees Handy and Bonilla for the next 4 years of their time on the board. The PFT looks forward to working with you both as we move forward. I'd also like to take a moment to read a statement from Heather Dodge. She was here earlier. She put in her card, but she had to leave to go to her son's school. So Heather Dodge is the head librarian at Berkeley City College, and these are now her words. We empower students to achieve their highest aspirations. This is in our district-wide mission statement. Our hourly positions with no benefits or job security or annual pay increases the high aspirations we want our students to expect. It is flagrantly wrong and embarrassing for Peralta, charged with the betterment of the Bay Area community, to stall for so long on such a huge problem. 2 of our hourly employees, Allison Green, who has been employed by Peralta for over 6 years, and Puya Berhamandi, are consistently the first faces students see as they walk in to check out books and get support from the BCC library. I cannot imagine our library without them. Hourlies are the backbone of many departments, and their labor, innovation, and contribution should not be met with discrete contract terminations with no acknowledgement that they've been wronged. In terms of the reality at the BCC library, we will be forced to close on Saturdays without a classified position, and will close without notice if our full-time classified is on sick or on vacation during our weekday hours. With such thin staffing on our front lines, our students will suffer the brunt of terminations, lack of access to reserved textbooks, limited computer and printing availability, and loss of laptop lending on days and times when campus services are stretched as it is. Since 2011, when the library was given an ACJCC recommendation to expand library hours to meet student needs, we've asked in program review and our annual program updates for a full-time classified library technician to bring us at least on par with the other libraries, most of which have double or triple the number of support staff in their libraries. Administration and district have chosen to prioritize other requests, and now we will be in a state of crisis because of the hourly terminations. I beseech the board and our administration to find the funding to convert hourly positions into part-time permanent or full-time positions and bring justice to those who are being wrongfully terminated and to students who will suffer the brunt of the cuts. Thank you.
Daruti Shukla. Are you not here? Okay. Aisha Warren, Heather Dodge, Kimberly King, and Sylvia Espinosa are next. Are you Aisha? Welcome. Alicia, I'm sorry. I see the L now. Dr. Karras, could you move the microphone closer, please? Thank you.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, faculty. My name is Warren Alicia Alston. I'm coming on behalf of Kim Kale, our DSPS High Tech Center representative. Without her, excuse me, but sorry, like I said, it's the emotional point. But as a student at Laney, as a DSPS student, without her, our DSPS, without her job, I could not do it. I could not get through what I'm going through. I could not get through classes, and I also am like wanting to keep. IAs are very important, so they're important to our entire campus, not only DSPS, but our computer labs all over the campus. So we need to, as a board, I'm asking you and pleading with you all to take a look at keeping these IAs permanent positions. These are like Kim stated, and like it's been stated, they're lively. These IAs are ours as students. They're part of our lives, and it's very important. And I also would like to read a letter from fellow students. Let's see. Dear board members, Kim Kale has given her entire time and efforts for many students here at Laney College. She has been giving her attention to each and every one of us individually. As college students, we strongly believe and support her work here at Laney College and the Learning Center. In the Learning Center, she has been giving her time and effort to make products for us as at an academic level. We are loving the skills that is being used used here by Ms. Kale at the Learning Center. So we strongly would recommend recommend not to replace her. All of us at Laney College, as a Laney College student, Student Center strongly feel comfortable with her. We may not be able to get the same help with someone else as with Ms. Kim. She is very confident and passionate to her work. So in our opinion, that bringing someone else in her position might not be entirely worthy, because they will have to start from the beginning, interacting with students, as I state, getting to know who we are, and having to train that person or people on the programs and software that we use to help us get through our daily academic level. Interacting with the students and handle the office as Ms. Kale has been doing smoothly from the time of her beginning. We would love to see Ms. Kale stay at the Learning Center, helping us as she has been doing this for years. Here at Laney College, we here at Laney College get strong help from her being here. This makes our Learning Center so much better. Sincerely, Laney College Learning Center students. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Heather Dodge. Okay. Kimberly King, and then Sylvia Espinosa. Is Sylvia Espinosa here? Okay, great. And then after that, Cynthia, it looks like Correa. and then Roberto Gonzalez.
I just urge the Board of Trustees and the Chancellor and the District Office to do whatever they can to come to a resolution for this temporary staff position issue, to work with the union or whatever it takes to solve this problem that the people that came before me spoke so eloquently about. My staff, I'm the Umoja coordinator at Laney College. It's a Black Student Success Program. And my staff assistant, who is the only full-time person who works for Umoja, he's the one, like they mentioned with Kim and with others, the first person that students see, the ones who solve all the problems. He actually lost his job last Wednesday. However, because I'm fortunate enough to have administrators and a budget that I'm able to transfer, that I, as the coordinator, was able to get support from President Gilkerson, Vice President Ferguson, and my associate dean, Diane Chang, who worked tirelessly with me, and then of course Dr. Siri Brown at the district office who supports Umoja. But I'm in a lucky special position because I happen to be the Umoja program. The Umoja program happens to have equity funding, and I happen to have supporters, and I appreciate the chancellor signed it as well. But what about all the hundreds of positions that are going to happen, that are going to lose their positions throughout the district, that have direct contact with students? I know you guys already know. I don't really need to tell you again, but I'm just, please, I urge you, try to find some solution. Don't just let this happen. The only way I was able to get this was also I motivated, I moved, I called people, I emailed the chancellor, I emailed everybody 3 or 4 times a day. I bugged people. You guys can do that too. You can solve this problem. You can work with the chancellor. You can work with the district office. You can work with the union. So I just please urge you to do that, so that, I mean, I feel blessed. I'm really lucky. My students are lucky that we were able to get through a permanent position, and we are going to hire a permanent staff assistant for Umoja. But that's just Umoja. That's just one person. What about DSPS? What about all the other positions throughout the district? So please do whatever you can. It is within your power to do it. I know we don't quite have enough money to maybe replace every single temporary staff position with a full regular staff position. But whatever you can do, I just urge you to please do it. Thank you.
Ms. Espinosa. And can Cynthia Correa please come forward, and Roberto Gonzalez come forward, and John Sutherland come forward, please? Yes.
Hi, I work at Berkeley City College, and I work with the multimedia department and the CIS department and the accounting department. And I was able to get some of my instructional assistants, and I think there's a bit of confusion because I hire both temporary classified and instructional assistants. Instructional assistants are key to serving students, especially a lot of the students in the multimedia department, which is all digital, CIS, aside from the fact that we spend a lot of money on equipment, a lot of special grant money on equipment, and we have a lot of students that have gone through the classes that have more experience, and so these students are the ones that are equipped to help the newer students handling the equipment. This is the same for our science department. And so there has to be a differentiation between instructional assistants and the 65-day temporary staff. I think you guys need to see the difference between that. There is a lot of supplanting with the 65-day, and that's something that you do need to look at, because I think you're supplanting those 65 days and not hiring full-time classified employees. And that is not equitable, to departments, and it's not equitable to the employees. But as far as instructional assistants, I have a person that is a certified architect. She's got a severance package and came back to work, to classes, and we're like, what are you doing here? You need to be teaching. She's like, no, I'm fine. I just want to take some multimedia classes, some CIS classes, and explore. So we made her an instructional assistant. She had already been an instructional assistant. They made her stop. Another gentleman was an accountant in India, went through the COA program, became an accountant. He's an accountant with some city in the Bay Area. He wants to start a tutoring program for the accounting program at BCC. Again, stopped. So we have to differentiate between instructional assistants and 65 days. And the 65 days doesn't merit hiring, and I know budgets are tight, but there's a lot of grant funding, and there's a lot of ways that we could Band-Aid hiring somebody full-time. But it's really important to student success. A lot of these instructional assistants help with expensive equipment that we have, and it's important their expertise, is there. So it's really, and I'm, as a person that creates these documents to hire people, you guys just did it mid-semester, and I'm like, what's going on, Ruby? It's like, she was like, oh, there's something. And so even that is like, you sideswiped us mid-semester. Fall semester is our busiest semester. When you're addressing this, we were like, with our hands tied, we didn't know what to do. We were like, looking at each other like, we need these people, but we can't. We didn't know where to go. Nobody's, everybody's pointing the finger. Oh, it's the unit, it's the administration, it's the district. Bottom line, we don't have workers. It doesn't matter who's to blame. We have a problem, and we need to find a solution. And that's what I'm here to ask you guys. Let's find a speedy solution for student success. Thank you.
Cynthia?
Hello, everyone. My name is Cynthia Correa, and I'm full-time faculty at Laney College, head of the carpentry department. And I'm here briefly to speak about the IAs for CE, and just to tell you how important it is to continue that, because it is an extra set of eyes on hands moving near dangerous equipment. And the outcome, if we can't continue IAs, will be to cut down students in the class. And so instead of 25 students, we might have to have 15, because I can't safely watch them. And inevitably, that might close the department. And that is one of the things that Peralta has that we shouldn't close, not just my department, but the CE department. So it's really important to keep FTS up, to keep safety in our classrooms, to find a way, maybe it's a different name, I don't know what you want to call it, but instructional assistants are very, very, very important. But I know you know that already, but I'm just telling you that we all feel that way, and I know that you spoke about that, and it's what makes us unique, having CE at Peralta, which segues me into the other item, which is action item 12. And I'm here to ask you to seriously consider approving the resolution and acknowledge the value of the Fab Labs at Peralta, namely Laney and Alameda so far. Hopefully Merritt and BCC can join us in that revolution. But the most important reason that we want to do this as a college district is because we want success for our students. And for so long, we have been teaching to the left brain. And what the Fab Labs, or STEAM, or STEM, as you might call it, does is it opens those doors to those students who need visual, tactile, contextualized learning. It creates opportunities for entrepreneurship. At Laney, we have already serviced 33 different departments coming through our lab, and that's a lot. because mostly it's engineering and architecture. And Laney has utilized 33 departments, which I think is pretty outstanding. And I would like to ask the board and the colleges to consider institutionalizing the Fab Labs, much like the libraries, because that is our technology libraries of the future. And right now we're grant-driven, and it's very difficult to continue. Laney had a California Community Colleges Makers Grant, which ends this May, and funding for this is up in the air. And the burden should not be solely on CE to fund this, because it is a campus-wide resource. So again, in the future, if we can work on how to make this happen, I think that Laney and Peralta will be leaders in innovation. Thank you.
Roberto?
Good evening. My name is Roberto Gonzalez. I'm a classified permanent employee at BCC. And I'd just like to just spend a couple of moments addressing the unfortunate set of circumstances surrounding the threat of layoffs for our hourly classified employees. I'm actually coming back. Today's my first day back from a short vacation. I was down in the Southern California area, and I had the great pleasure of meeting up with my family from Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. And during that time, even though I was on vacation, during a moment of heart-to-heart with arguably my favorite aunt, we were talking about relationships. And I was listening to some of the woes that she was kind of catching me up to date on what was going on with her family and so forth. And one of the things that she said that really registered with me were three words that she said that helps make a relationship worthwhile, and those being love, respect, and communication. And communication being the focal point of the three. I was, even though, like I said, I was on vacation, I was also, I still couldn't entirely separate myself from work. And I was thinking that, you know, while we're dealing with a set of complex circumstances with our hourly employees, it is a set of surmountable issues. We're talking about real, living, breathing people. We're talking about their jobs and their livelihoods. We heard some very impassionate speakers earlier today, and we must not settle for just knee-jerk reactions, but to instead arrive at a sensible and thought-through remedy. I know we're capable. We're smart people. We have the capability to do that. We also have the opportunity to reorganize, to rethink our approach, to strategize, and to be effective. But we must communicate consistently and respectfully. And I know there's been a lot of rumors around hourlies and layoffs and who's going to be laid off and who's not going to be and all that kind of stuff, and when it's going to happen, when it's not going to happen. And all of that is just static noise. And so what we're asking for is to let us work together to achieve, to produce, and to actually instill that culture of excellence that we're always trying to reach for. Together, let us build something that we can express and reflect upon when we go home at night. Something that resembles that love that we have in our homes and those people around us in our personal lives, but something that we can also cherish when we think about our work. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you very much, and I do look forward to working As a union officer for SEIU, I know that we will find a mutual, respectful solution, but it will take that time and honest communication. Thank you very much.
John Sutherland, Amanda Dia, Miguel Vega, and Rick Rothbart. Those are the last four.
Hi, everybody. I'm an Old Oakland resident, so I'm approaching this from my own personal perspective. It's an old topic, but it's a new, I think, a new idea. Every time that I've presented it, it's been supported, and I've been encouraged to share it with even more people. I've presented the idea from one perspective, so now being here, it's going to be from a new perspective, which I think is even a better, healthier perspective. It is the A's Stadium topic. I will just read you this, more or less my idea, and you may have heard this because I've emailed some of you, but the idea is in Laney College site, you've got the Coliseum site, both need attention. And my idea is just to switch the sites, build the Coliseum at the Laney site, and what you can do down at the Oakland Coliseum site is build a brand new Laney College. What I've written here, I'm just going to read this, forgive me. Build a new and improved Laney College at the site of the Oakland Coliseum. Plenty of space for a state-of-the-art community college campus, athletic facilities, housing, parks, retail, entertainment, hotels, and more, plus parking and easily accessible by BART. The site has room for all the existing buildings at Laney, all the existing buildings at the College of Alameda, all of the Peralta Community College administration buildings, plus has rooms for an entire athletic complex. There'd be room for dorms, there'd be room for residential, commercial development, et cetera, and you could still have the Warriors Stadium for events, and I even thought maybe even for graduations from your community college. And the more that I thought about this, I even thought that if there's enough room that if Cal State East Bay wanted to join in, they could have a home there as well. I'm sure you're all aware the land that Peralta is sitting on is priceless. Between the A's and developers, the money available is staggering. I know that they are in negotiations with the city to put $100+ million BART station. Dave Cavill wants to build a gondola, which will be $100+ million. Every time I hear something like that, I find it ridiculous, and I wish that the money could go to something more useful, like education. And in closing, it's you have tremendous bargaining power. There's a tremendous amount of money out there. It's a rare opportunity, and I think this is a simple idea that if it gets some momentum and some backing, I think could benefit not just Laney College, not just the A's, but all of the city. Thank you. I have handouts if anybody needs them or wants them.
Can I hand this real quick? Oh, this is for Alicia. She forgot to give this to the board.
Good evening, all. My name is Amanda Dia, and I am an hourly employee at CalWorks at Merritt College. I'm here to talk about the letting go of hourlies without a feasible transition plan. Our students at CalWorks are mostly single-parent mothers. These students depend on us to be their advocate, to be the first person to help them with their struggles. We have students coming in who are becoming homeless. Who's going to be there to help them and guide them so that they could have the basic needs that they deserve? Our students already have odds against them. And their children also depend on their parents. And so if we don't have the hourlies or a transition plan or something that will be in place of smooth operational day-to-day business,
How are these students going to get the support they need? My coordinator, she will be the only one in the office. All the other employees, including myself, and our last day is this Thursday, is going to be the coordinator. She has to go to meetings, conferences, etc. But how is she going to be the clerical staff? How is she going to be the employee specialist? How is she going to be the staff assistant? How is she going to be a person who's supposed to go out into the community so that we can have more students? There's going to be a decline in enrollment. We already know that's an issue now. But to not support the students that need it the most, the students who need to make money, but instead they're deciding that they're going to go to school to better themselves, to get better jobs, to be more self-reliant, but without the support, what's going to happen to them? And I know we're not the only ones that are going to be suffering. For those who are going to be staying behind, the workload is going to be tremendous. Everything is going to collapse. And it's going to happen if we do not put the people that we need in the places that they need to be so that we can continue to support the students. So I urge you, please, please, think about the students first and foremost. But think about the people who are being impacted in our offices. We have employees who were on CalWorks at one point, but now they can guide people through the system. Not many of us know how to go through the system. We advocate for students to the county. Not many people know how to do that or are willing to do that. So please, do the responsible thing, do the conscientious thing, and have a plan that's going to be reasonable. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Miguel Vegas? Miguel?
Hello. Just take a second. Hi, I'm Miguel Vega. I am one of the leads at the College of Alameda Fab Lab, and I'll be stepping in today for Danny Beasley, the founder of the COA and Laney Fab Labs, along with the Castlemont and Skyline Fab Labs, to present information about the benefits of these Fab Labs for Peralta and our students. That's tied to agenda item 12.1, I believe. Now, so for those of you who may not know, the Laney and COA Fab Labs are places where users can come in and experiment with digital fabrication equipment like laser cutters and CNC machines, 3D printers for free. And they can learn how to make almost anything. There isn't any sort of experience that's necessary as we offer workshops that can show people how to quickly, manage these machines and start taking what's in their heads and putting it in their hands. So, yeah, and it's not just a place for tinkering, it's a place that can offer real benefits for these users. And I have a couple of stories tied to them. One is a man named Jimmy Krell. And so he was a student at Laney who just wanted to learn how to make things. And over time, he started running the Laney Fab Lab. He's now running the fabrication shop at Google X. It's one of the best places in terms of fabrication on the planet. Another student worker, Kara Crone, she worked in the lab at Laney, and it changed her entire trajectory. She's now at Boston University pursuing a degree in mechanical engineering. And as for myself, I went to community college after high school, and I ended up transferring to Cal to get a degree in English. I worked in tech for a number of years, shifted my focus, and went back to community college, to Laney, and where I earned my certificate and degree in machine technology. It's also where I found the Fab Lab. And once I found out that I could go in there and just play with stuff for free, they couldn't get rid of me, and they had to hire me, so they did. And now I'm at the College of Alameda, where I teach students, faculty, and staff not only how to play with machines, but to believe in themselves that they can actually use this stuff and fail, and it's okay. We're currently developing a digital fabrication certificate for industry, and really what we want to do is make a place where students can come in, find their path, and continue their education through the avenues, the existing avenues in Peralta. We request that Fab Labs be recognized as valued resources for Peralta and the community at large, and to support the growth and development of these Fab Labs. I want to thank you for your time and await your decision regarding this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I also have some comments in support of the Fab Lab, just little anecdotes and notes that we took from students.
You can pass them to our secretary.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. Rick Rothbart. Rick? Okay, thank you. All right, Madam Chair, that concludes our comments from the public.
The next item on the agenda is the Chancellor's report.
This evening I want to welcome Dr. Gilkerson back from dealing with the passing of her father. She was certainly in our minds, and we're glad to have her back with us. I think everybody knows that the bond and parcel tax passed, and they didn't just pass; they just passed by a lot. And it is the first thing is that the board had the courage to agree to put both measures on the ballot, and especially both of them at the same time. We, of course, did the necessary work to know whether or not that was a viable option, and it was. And I want to, again, say thank you to the board for having the courage to give the community the opportunity to show one more time how much it appreciates the colleges and how much it appreciates Peralta. Also want to say thank you to, especially to our 4 presidents. They had to work very hard in providing support for what we needed to do for not only the education master plan, the facilities master plan, because the bond didn't just become a bond when we put it on the ballot. It started with the education master plan, and then went on with the facilities master plan, and then after that there was the campaign and the election. They worked very hard. Their administrative teams, their faculty worked very hard to put us in a good position to really be able to run an excellent campaign. And of course, there were several volunteers from the board who served on the committee for the bond. We want to thank all of them for that. We are very excited that we now have necessary funding to take care of many issues that we have. I remember that Vice Chancellor Johnson would build a budget for the next couple of years and would always account for in case we do not have the parcel tax. That's off the table right now, thanks to the faith that the board had, and then the hard work of many folks to really go out and do what needed to be done. This vote of confidence that the community put to us is one that I encourage us to cherish and to make sure that we do the very best that we can with the resources that have been committed to the district. As for the hourly employees, the board, the administration, and all of us are working as hard as we can, also collaborating with SEIU to do the best that we can for hourly employees. We will continue to work hard until we can solve the problem. But there's no mistake. There's no misunderstanding that we know that all of our employees whether they're faculty, whether they're full-time, permanent classified, or hourly employees or student workers, are all extremely important. Our administrators as well, extremely important for the success of Peralta. Peralta doesn't become successful because of one group or another, but it is us all together. So this issue is our common problem, and of course, the president, the chancellor, and the board, and the vice chancellors are to provide leadership for solving issues. It's a task that we take very seriously, and we intend to perform well and do the best that we can to support our hourly employees, not just for the sake of the hourly employees, but for the services that they provide to our students. Because at the end of the day, when it's all counted, what the voters, what the public, and all of us care about is really the effect of anything that we do on the lives of our students, because that's the business we are in, and we take it seriously. We intend to take that seriously because this is something that affects the lives of our students. This concludes my report, Madam President.
Thank you, Chancellor. The next item on the agenda is presentations. 4.1, board workshop presentation by Dr. Fran White.
Board, good to see all of you this evening. You have the documents related to this particular item in your packet, and we'll just start with those items, and I'll walk you through. Where's Brenda? Help. Yeah. Before I begin, I'd like to thank a few people. There were 3 trustee work groups, and each of the work groups were chaired by a trustee, a board member, and I'd like to identify them. They're Trustee Karen Weinstein, Trustee Board President Meredith Brown, and Trustee Bill Withrow. There were other members of each of the work groups, but more importantly, the vice chancellors and their staff, specifically Vice Chancellor Brown and Vice Chancellor Johnson and Royal Roberts and Richard Ferreira were instrumental, key, and in terms of helping to collect the information and pull the reports together. How do I get out of this? So the first report's going to be campus safety, and my plan is to just walk you through the reports and have the chairs, or trustee chairs, if you will, speak to specific items in each of the documents. Okay, this is document number 1. Thank you. And the first one will be campus safety. So in terms of the purpose of this particular work group, the task was to review the current safety and security protocols at all Peralta sites, to evaluate the adequacy and level of preparedness of staff and facilities in case of an emergency. This particular work group met 8 times, and after 8 meetings came up with a list of recommendations that were categorized in high priority and next priority. And you can see that they're listed as high priority: communications, safety and emergency preparedness, emergency operating plans, and a mobile command center. And the next priority included recommendations for training, general safety, and ADA considerations. Trustee Karen Weinstein was the coordinator or trustee chair for this particular work group. Do you have any comments?
Thank you, Dr. White. I appreciate you helping to put this together. And of course, Royal, for the incredible work that you did, and Trustee Withrow. You know, let me just say a few words. This is something that the trustees should take a look at and spend some time thinking about. My hope is that we continue to have either a committee or a work project that continues to deal with safety and emergency preparedness. When we first sat down at the very beginning, I can say that I think we were pretty overwhelmed. I mean, this is an extraordinarily important issue. We see it every day when we watch the news. We are dealing with more violence. We are dealing with more fires. We are dealing with everything that this is about. So to be able to do it in 8 sessions is actually was too difficult. So this was really our beginning. And if you just take a look at it, you'll see that we really focus on, first of all, making sure that there is communication, that students know what they're supposed to do, that the staff knows what they're supposed to do, that the faculty knows what they're supposed to do. And we all really strongly support the idea of creating a web page that is just about safety and emergency preparedness. I'm hoping that if this continues, that we have more faculty members involved as well as more students, because we need that input. Second, we really need more funding for safety. And I think that we are really kind of focused on trying to find more funding. And hopefully that's something that the board can take a look at. And then, of course, I do want to say that we did not go into depth about working with the Alameda, the Alameda Sheriff, thank you. It was brought up occasionally, but there was no in-depth discussion about that, and I think that's something that the board needs to think about and figure out how we want to work with them and whether we want to work with them. But we did not finalize any decision or actually go into depth about that. The rest, I think you can see what we were very focused on. We did feel that we would recommend that there be a consultant that comes in to talk about the best possible way to do emergency preparedness for our disabled student community. We just feel like it's not adequate and we need to do a better job with that. And we ourselves couldn't do that, but we are saying that that has to be continued to be worked on. It's very important, and I don't think we're at where we should be. I want to thank Dr. Caro for the work that he did at the different campuses with the students in terms of student safety. We were able to get students and faculty to talk with us about how they felt safe or how they didn't feel safe and some of the things they felt were important. This is the issue with this. There is no time. Safety and emergency preparedness has to be done today. So that means that we really have to continue to work on this, not put it aside. We need to know who is working with whom, and we need to carry that feeling of urgency with us so that this does not end up someplace that we do not continue. We must continue. It's hugely important. So maybe Trustee Withrow can say a few more words. I want to thank everybody for working on this and coming to the 8 meetings plus. And I hope that we can continue to really put something in writing that is solid and that will really make our students and our faculty and staff feel safer than they do now. Thank you.
I concur with everything that Trustee Weinstein has just talked about. Emergency preparedness is a major issue to be looked at and emphasize the preparedness as opposed to the intimidation. The intent is not to intimidate the students or intimidate the faculty and staff, but that we are living in a period of time when a lot of not so good things occur. Obviously, the fires. I've got a son, a daughter-in-law, and a grandson who now live with me for a while. They have a home on Doom Drive in Malibu, and were ordered vacated. They have no idea when they can get back in. One of their neighbors came in by boat and swam ashore and found that, and we got the word today about 3 o'clock that their home is intact. A lot of their neighbors are not, but it's obviously a very serious thing. And when we look at Butte County, for example, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. But it's important that when things like that occur, that as an organization, we're prepared. We know who's going to take charge, who's going to be the communicator. And as much as possible throughout the organization, people have an understanding of where they fit in the process and not get in the way, which is a big issue. But I concur with Trustee Weinstein that whether we have it as a repeated in a short-term era, I think it's important that the institution understands that the board considers emergency preparedness to be important. One last thing, as a finance guy, we have mandates, and you've heard me mention a few times lately about unfunded mandates, but we have mandates from the federal level and mandates from the state level addressing emergency preparedness and addressing the kind of structure that we're to have, and in a lot of cases, communication equipment. And the last word that I've heard was that just for the equipment alone, to satisfy these mandates, we're talking about $6 million. And I think Vice Chancellor Acaro has looked into that, and that is a goal. But it's a nice thing to have a goal, but you have to have the bucks. You have to have the money to do it. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions or comments? Okay, and once again, thank you, Dr. Acaro, for all of your assistance and help with this particular work group. Okay, we'll go to the next one, I think. It's going the wrong way. So the next work group will be focused on enrollment. And the trustee coordinator or chair for this work group, I believe, is Trustee Brown. This particular work group was pretty much charged or tasked with finding ways to increase enrollment, and was asked to look at a lot of different ways of increasing enrollment. And the recommendations, there were 9 recommendations that are in front of you. I think there's some notes and other background material related to this particular group and the membership. Any comments, Trustee Brown?
Thank you very much, Dr. White, and thank you to the faculty and administrators and the staff that attended these meetings and supported them. The college presidents were gracious, and they are already very busy, and they were gracious to spend their time working on this. And thank you to Dr. Brown for and the members of the community that came and participated as well. We had great support from members of the community that are committed to increasing these education services to our service area. I think that the most important thing about this is that the information has to reach the students in a medium that is comfortable to them. We have to access the students in a way that reaches them how they communicate and where they are. Part of what was focused on was that our IT become user-friendly for students that may not have a computer yet, but just have their phone, that they could go on and register and get information from their phone. If anyone has tried to disconnect a teen or a 20-year-old from the phone, you understand that that is, if you want to communicate with them, you send them a text or you FaceTime. But their laptops are expensive, and not everybody is using those before they get into school. And then even so afterwards, we have lending libraries. But in any case, enrollment has been something that was a hot topic, a very key topic for me since I joined the board. And it's been one of the primary things that I've worked on because, we've gone from actually spending weekends going to fairs, street fairs and activities and trying to tell people about Peralta to an institutionalized program that Dr. Brown is leading to now having this work group because we're in a situation where people are underserved in our area, yet we have the services and we have declining enrollment. So we have demand and we have need, and joining those two is something that can improve the quality of life in our community, as well as make a more robust work environment for our faculty and our staff so that they're not worried about who are they're here to serve and who are they going to be serving, how many people are going to be coming. So it's one of those things that serves everyone. And so I'm really pleased with the support that was put into this program. I can say that Oakland Lacrosse is now having programs at Lady College, and the student government, and maybe Dr. Karras can speak more on that, but the student government is in favor of lacrosse. I used to coach lacrosse, so I'm happy to provide that support and help. Why lacrosse? Because it helps students transfer to four-year colleges if that's what they're interested in. Everything has a purpose and a method. Why did we talk about sports? Because that's how some students solve their food insecurity issues, how they solve their tutoring issues. It's one of the ways that we get more diversity and equity, socioeconomic, ethnic diversity with our students. There's also, if you look into different cultures, a proclivity for predisposition for rugby or other issues. You meet students where they are is basically the issue. And it's not just the enrollment, but it's also how are they supported and treated when they're here. We had a member of our community that had been doing grant research, and maybe Trustee Handy could tell us a little bit more about how we serve our African-American males and how an institution such as ours needs to make sure that students come in and they're supported and that they're given the resources that they need to be successful. So I just would want to tell everybody thank you for the participation, but actually if Dr. Karras and maybe Trustee Handy could talk a little bit about the enrollment, I think that would help because it's something that we're all passionate about because that is what our mission is to serve. And enrollment, we have to have the people here to be able to serve them. And you guys are still quiet.
No, I'll be brief, thank you. It was really great to work on this work group. I think we really tried to do lots of different strategies, as you'll see up there, really getting us out and connected to the community in every way we can and building on the good work where we, as was already mentioned, going to festivals and kind of systematizing that for we get our message out to the whole community, knowing that we're there, and that's very strong four colleges that we have, and then either athletics or club sports being part of that, because that could draw students into a college when they might not see it for them, and it could be starting at a club sport like lacrosse, or I love rugby. Maybe someone will want to play rugby. I wouldn't play rugby, they'd just kill me. But I think it's great sport. And so I think all these things also, as they come into athletic programs, knowing that an athletic student needs to take a full load, they have higher success rates and retention rates than other students, and it really builds on success upon success and transfer. So it was a nice kind of free-ranging group. We did technology issues to sports to just kind of the guided pathway. So we were kind of a smorgasbord of getting more people into Peralta.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Yes, Trustee Handy.
I was born and raised in this community, and getting students into our colleges is not the issue. Keeping our students is the issue. Comprehensive wraparound services are absolutely necessary if you're going to be working with people of color. Brown people work in communities, families, network, villages. African American people work in communities, the same type of learning. There are people who are proposing comprehensive wraparound services programs that follow students for 5 years. People are willing to come and support our community. But the challenge that I see to enrollment, the real challenge that I see, let me give you an example. We had a big to-do about a class that was going to be shut down at Merritt some time ago. And they were leading a big march, and they brought all the students in to, I'm not going to be able to complete my whatever if these courses are cut. These were courses that were going to be deactivated. And the sad part about it is that there was a high school in the community where Merritt College also has relationships and partnerships with the Unity Council and the Fruitvale District, a high school that focused on that particular area, pathway. Did it ever occur to anyone, or even the person, the instructor, to recruit or to even have a relationship with that school? Because we could have had all of those students in that summer, easily, if we had reached out. So we have to have a shift in attitudes. Folks, these are trying times, and if we all want to have jobs here and we want to be here, you have to look at every student as a gym. When they come in, you got to remove every obstacle that you can so that they could be here. If you look at the model that Delgado Community College has in New Orleans, what Delgado did, the whole community, their whole state of Louisiana made a decision about what was going to happen in terms of education and workforce development. So they put pantries, they put legal services because there's a lot of domestic violence types of situations. They put child care. They put everything that a student could possibly, income tax services for the entire family, free. They're on the campus, because if the parents don't do the income taxes, then the student can't qualify for any financial aid. So they looked at everything that would keep a student from being able to come to school, and they removed those barriers, and their success is off the charts. And I just sat in their sessions again at ACCT. There are models that are showing how you really can not only get, it's not getting them, because we can get them. We can go out there every day and we can have town hall meetings and we'll get them. But if you don't see them, and if they feel invisible, once they get here, they will disappear. So I think that it's great if we start also looking at how can we do better? How can we welcome students? Victor Flint started the Student Ambassadors program at Berkeley City College, and it was the most successful thing. And who was one of our student ambassadors? Tenzin Selden, who is now, 30 under 30 with Forbes, who came through Berkeley City College as an immigrant student and went to Stanford and then became a Rhodes Scholar and then worked for the United Nations, and she's still just 25 years old, because we saw her. That program saw them. So when we don't have to go out and reinvent the wheel, folks. Let's look at what got us here, what kept us here, and how can we support our students and our campuses in creating that type of environment that will hold students here. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd also like to say thank you to Dr. Gilkerson for participating and contributing to those meetings.
Okay, if that's all of the comments, then we'll move to the last work group. Wake up. Did I lose it? Oh, Brenda, help. I don't know what I did. There you go. There you go. Do you need the next one? It's the last one. That one. So the last group will be, work group, will be the report and recommendations for the Budget and Finance Work Group. Again, this particular group held meetings a number of times, specifically 4. And from those meetings, a summary of the recommendations are provided. One of the recommendations, top recommendations, was to develop a plan to eliminate the structural deficit. Establish a board policy for reserves. Study the impact for funding support of unfunded mandates. Update the facilities master plan and maintenance schedule to improve facilities. Improve parcel tax funding to the colleges. Reinstate the Finance and Audit Board Committee and investigate funding for an internal auditor were the top recommendations from this group. This group was chaired or coordinated by Trustee Bill Withrow.
You know, I think the recommendations speak for themselves. I think that they're very pointed, but it seemed to me the goal of the group at each of the meetings was to truly get a better understanding of our resource allocation and how it works, the limitations that we have. You know, it's one thing to say that we have this requirement, and this requirement, but if we don't have the resources to address it, it becomes a fruitless exercise. But I think that if, in fact, we can put into our organizational structure in terms of goals and objectives looking out over the next 12 to 24 months and include the recommended initiatives, not that we're going to solve everything, but hopefully improve on how efficiently and effectively our resources are allocated, but B, on how broad spread our constituency here understands how the resources are applied and the limitations that are involved.
Thank you, Trustee Withrow. Any questions or comments from other trustees? If not, that concludes this report, Madam President.
Thank you very much, Dr. White. We really appreciate your help and support in this as well. The next item on the agenda after presentations is the consent calendar. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. We'll need a vote on the consent calendar, and we're going to need Trustee Gonzalez, you in too. We'll call for a vote. And Madam Clerk is going to be cracking the whip in a moment.
I can do it.
Okay, here she is.
Oh, there.
Roll call.
Student Trustee Galan?
Yes.
Trustee Weinstein? Trustee Handy? Trustee Withrow?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Yuen? Yes. Trustee Bonilla? Yes. Trustee Riley?
Yes.
And Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
The next item on the agenda are the action items. And we are at 12.1, consider approval of resolution acknowledging the value and contributions of the Peralta Fab Labs. And the presenter is President Gilkerson. It's been moved in second. Do we have any discussion?
Question.
No discussion. I'll call the question and call for a vote. Madam Clerk, can you lead us in the roll call?
Student Trustee Galan?
Yes.
Trustee Weinstein? Trustee Handy?
Yes.
Trustee Withrow?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Yuan?
Yes.
Trustee Bonilla? Trustee Riley?
Yes.
And Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
The next item is 12.2, approval of resolution for release of retention for Marcon Construction in the amount of $13,494.55. That's item 12.2. It's been moved and second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. Madam Clerk, can you give us a roll call?
Student Trustee Galan? Trustee Weinstein? Trustee Handy? Trustee Withrow?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Yuan? Yes. Trustee Bonilla? Yes. Trustee Riley? And Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Madam President, I'd like to move the remainder of the action items, 12.3 through 12.7.
Second.
It's been moved in second to approve the remainder of the action items, 12.3 and 12.7. And do we have any discussion?
Question.
There seeing none, we will call the question. And Madam Clerk, can you do the roll call?
Student Trustee Galan? Trustee Weinstein? Trustee Handy? Trustee Withrow?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Yuan? Yes. Trustee Bonilla? Yes. Trustee Riley? And Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
The next item on the agenda is trustee reports. And we'll start with the trustees. No. Okay, we're going to start with Trustee Weinstein. We'll start with Trustee Weinstein.
Thank you. I was able to attend for a little while the mental health summit at the Berkeley City College, and I just want to say it was terrific. And it was a very interesting way of looking at mental health in terms of the issue of mental health and solidarity and poverty and resilience. And I think it was very progressive, very, very well done. And I want to do a shout out to Jeannie Greer, who really worked hard to bring, is that right? Yeah, she really worked hard to bring in the 99 people that were there from the community as well as in the college. And I think that it's something that all of us should be paying attention to. We obviously are all paying attention to the issue of mental health, but the way they spoke about it, the way they had people participate and take on different roles was really, really terrific. So I want to thank them all for doing that. I thought that was really, really good. And second thing is that I want to say during the election time, speaking with people, it was terrific to see how many people in the community really supported the parcel tax and the bond, and were very positive about giving funding to education. Equally, they were very interested in making sure that they know how the money is being spent, and that there is transparency in this, and I assured them that there will be transparency with this, and the colleges will be very involved. So it was a pleasure for me to be involved in the elections, and there were a lot of people and issues that were important that thankfully did get passed, and just made me happy that I think our democracy is a little bit stronger. Okay, thank you.
Student Trustee Gallon. Trustee Handy. Trustee Riley.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Just briefly, I also want to thank the public for the passage of Measure E and G, our bond and the parcel tax. This is going to provide a great opportunity for capital improvement for our facilities over the next years and an extension on that parcel tax. So we thank the public for entrusting us and being good stewards of their funds. Thank you.
Trustee Withrow.
Pass.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Thank you. A little while ago, I had an opportunity to attend a teach-in at Laney College on the housing crisis that is affecting all of us, but in particularly affecting our students. I want to thank Kimberly King for putting the panel together, which included community activists and students, and it's an issue that's not. I don't think it's close enough in our consciousness on a regular basis. We understand gentrification is and skyrocketing rents are affecting us, but I think what we're not necessarily seeing is the deep impact on students. Laney College focused on this, and I think it would be really helpful for us to kind of double down on this. And while I'm really happy that we passed the bond and the parcel tax, I'd really like us to revisit the question of how we spend our construction money and whether, in fact, we can spend some of that money on in thinking about workforce and student housing. So I'll leave it at that, and thank you very much.
Trustee Withrow. There are a few outstanding things that Peralta has been involved in. One, you can see the huge Level Up sign back there, which is a partnership that Peralta has with Facebook. And part of the benefit of that partnership is that our students are here to expand their worlds, their horizons, their opportunities, and their leadership opportunities. This partnership with Facebook also helps promote entrepreneurism. The Global Diversity Coordinator came to Peralta to announce the partnership, which is the result of a 5-year effort that was begun by Sandre Swanson and Congresswoman Barbara Lee. I remember 5 years ago seeing them in a meeting in the East Bay Times working on that project, and that just shows that constant effort and diligence will result in a positive outcome. And also the College of Alameda, so there was that celebration. Then also the College of Alameda, the faculty and staff and students at College of Alameda welcomed us to the college to talk about their aviation program and the $3 million in grant funding that was given for the upgrades to the facility. It's seldom that you have facility upgrades from the federal government. We actually got a capital improvement grant. That was a very cold February in Washington, D.C. before and Trustee Bonilla and Handy and I and Withrow have a picture outside of the Department of Commerce in a tiny little office where that $3 million was hiding. And we took a picture outside.
Right in front of the cross
and to talk
African American Museum, which was not open for another 2 years.
And to talk to the faculty and students at the College of Alameda and how proud they were of the program and how happy they were and the work that they're doing, and to look at the work tables, that was really just very, it was awe-inspiring to see people's careers and to see how their careers take flight, I suppose, pardon the pun, and to see the industries, United and Alaska Airlines, there talking about how great our students are and how they want to hire every one of them, and seeing the pride on the faces of the students. It was pretty amazing. Those were at least just two Peralta-related activities. I have probably worked on Peralta. Well, there's also, yeah, that's right. One of the things I wanted to talk about was the fact that we did go to New York for ACCT. The important thing about that is on a national agenda, we're pushing to have a repeal of the use of the federal Pell grant for incarcerated students. What that means is that people who are within 5 years of getting out of prison would then be able to start studying when they're there. It reduces recidivism. It makes our communities safer. It makes our families stronger. This type of effort is why we would travel to New York. The question is, what does it have to do with our students? It means it's because in Alameda County, there is a large number of students who have been, or people who have been incarcerated, and to be able to start learning when you're there and to have that opportunity and that pathway is significant. And if we have to travel to New York and work there, it's worth it, because we're able to take our issues to a national agenda by partnering with trustees in other states. And so that we're pushing to have that be one of the national legislative issues that we take to Washington, D.C. Now, we have sat in Lamar Alexander's office and told them what community colleges need. So we know it's tough lobbying in Washington, D.C. for our students, but those are the things that are necessary in order to get the help that Alameda County needs. Even though we have excellent representatives, it means something different when the actual community members show up and they voice their concerns. And Linda Handy made me do it. She made me sign up for the diversity committee. And we did sit through a finance workshop all day. That's right. I made her sit through that. But also, I was elected to the diversity committee. Why is that important? Because the issues that we have in California, disaggregation of data, using federal money to support students that are incarcerated, those are the things that affect our community right here at home, but they're federal decisions. So if you're going to impact those federal decisions, you need to take your advocacy to the national stage. And so those are some things that we're doing here in Peralta to make our community stronger. Is there anything you want to add, Linda, since you were there?
That's good.
Okay, that's it. So, do we have any announcements?
The next regular board meeting will be held on December 11th in the district boardroom. The board wishes all a happy.
Did you say 27th?
December 11th. I'm reading. Is that?
He has decided we are not having a meeting on the 20th.
Our next regularly scheduled board meeting is December 11th, but we do have a retreat scheduled for November 27th.
Ah, that's not on this list that I'm reading. Okay.
We got it.
All right.
Good.
Okay.
That's good.
The board wishes all a happy Thanksgiving holiday. As a reminder, Peralta will be closed on Thursday, November 22nd, and Friday, November 23rd in observance. The board gives their condolences to the friends and families of the Thousand Oaks mass shootings. Our heartfelt condolences also go out to those that have perished and lost their homes in the California wildfires. We mourn their passing and adjourn our board meeting in memory of the victims of both of these tragedies. We also want to the board wants to extend its heartfelt condolences to the Gilkerson family as well. Let's take a moment in silence in honor of all of those that we've lost. Madam President, that concludes the announcements for this evening.
Thank you very much. Just before adjourning, I just want to point out that there is a fire safety training class at the prison that's near Lassen Community College. There are community college students that are out there fighting that fire in Butte College that were trained in community college. And that is what we're talking about. We're saying using federal money to support training in prison. People contribute to their community any way they can, and this makes a way. Our meeting is adjourned.